So hello to everybody and welcome to our pediatric sleep Q&A. We had an awesome turnout for this, so we are going to, we'll get into this in a little bit, where we're going to do our best to go over everyone's specific questions. But first, we just want to go ahead and thank Partners in Pediatrics. They are our co-hosts with us and sponsoring us here at this talk. For those of us who are joining outside of Partners in Pediatrics, Partners in Pediatrics is a very well-known pediatric office here in the Denver metro area, and they've been around since 1977. Today we have with us Dr. Nancy Latitis, who's one of the founders, and we also have our PA, or how we say, Dr. Jimmy Amitas, and we're super, super, super honored that they're here with us. We want to thank them. Partners in Pediatrics does a holistic approach to many pediatric well cares and illnesses. They do a lot of integrative medicine and preventative type measures. So we're super grateful to be here with them. And we will be asking them to tap in and join in if we have any sort of specific questions that go back to a pediatrician. So again, thank you guys for being here. Are Nancy and Jimmy on?
Well, so it seems that a lot of folks are coming up as not applicable. So I'm not sure if either one of them are on, but if either one of you are on, you can raise your hand. And so if you are on a Mac, you can just hit Control-Y to raise your hand, and then I can see you. And then otherwise, if you find there should be like 3 little dots together, you might say more. If you click on that, and then it will say like raise my hand or lower my hand. See here.
I see someone.
All right, NA and NA. Hey, Ben.
And also big shout out to Ben, who is the founder of iCreative and does all of Partners in Pediatrics media and marketing. And he has been so integral and intricate in putting all of this together for us. And we are so grateful for him. So thank you so much. And he's here to listen to us as well. So without further ado, like I said, thank you so much, Partners in Pediatrics, for partnering with us, for giving us this opportunity. Sara and I are super excited, and we're going to talk to you just a little bit about Sleepably. And I'll have Sara click the little, there we go, that's us. All right, you guys, so Sleepably was founded in 2018 and by our owner and founder, Seth Davis, who happens to be my husband. Seth was a former insomniac turned adult sleep coach. Seth struggled with getting good sleep for as long as I've known him. So for the and so he really found, he started doing some deep diving into what was the core of his problems, what were the issues, and started to take some coaching certifications to figure out how he could try to teach himself good sleep habits. And with it, he became so passionate about it, he ended up leaving the mainstream and started to coach other adults in how to get healthy sleep. And through it, what he found was that a lot of adults were not sleeping well because they have kids. So insert Sara, Nudd, and I. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'll let Sara tell you a little bit about herself. But Sara and I have known each other for the past 4 years. We work together at Children's Hospital as pediatric nurses. We work in the triage field, so we talk to a lot of parents on the phone doing telephone triage. And that is how her and I came to first know each other. Again, my name is Rebecca, and I have been a registered nurse for over 12 years and worked with pediatric population for the last 10 years. It is absolutely my passion to be with little children. I love them. We have 2 of our little own kiddos, and we have been where you are. Our kiddos are 1 year old and 4 years old, and we've dealt with sleep regressions, and we've dealt with nap refusal, and we've dealt with resisting bedtimes and early morning wake ups and all of it. And with our 4 year old, we really didn't do much other than let him sleep on us and sleep on me a lot. And so we just weren't getting anything done in the house. Naps were on us, bedtime was on us. Seth and I were like not sleeping in the same room. And it was just it was a lot. And then insert our littlest guy, and kind of started off on the same track. And by about 5 months, we just really realized like we just could not do this anymore. We could not continue down this path. Nobody was getting good sleep. Our 4 year old was suffering because then he would have to, try to do quiet time by himself or on an iPad or whatever it was to try and while we got our littlest guy to sleep. So I truly just want you to know that we've been where you are. We know how hard it is. We know how frustrating it is. We know how relentless it feels. And so we really kind of came together, Sara and I and Seth, and developed and went through some courses together. And then we've developed our pediatric side of Sleepably, which we're super excited to talk to you guys about today. And mainly another point that I just kind of want to go over is all of this information that we're giving you. We hope that you can take it and bring it into your own lives and start implementing it with your own children. But we are sleep coaches and we know that it can be hard and we love coaching. And we've had a lot of successful stories with parents who just needed that little extra effort or support rather to get them through the coaching process of how to safely and gently get their kids back to sleep. So that's a little bit about me. I'll let Sara kind of introduce herself and then we'll get going on to some information about stuff that you guys specifically have questions about.
Thanks, Rebecca. So you guys, I am Sara, and I am so thrilled to be partnering with Seth and Rebecca on the sleep journey. So a little bit about myself. I have 4 kids. We decided to spread our kids out. So my oldest is 21, and then our youngest is 5. Today was her last day of kindergarten. We went through the drive line and said our goodbyes. I'm just kind of... Anyway, so yes, I've been a pediatric nurse since '05. So that's about 15 years now. And then for the last, like 8 years, I've been at Children's. And so really this body of work was just super, organic in the fact that Rebecca and I were just talking to all these parents on the phone, and there was just there was a pattern that they needed more support when it came to overnight sleeps, kind of when to recognize these cues when their kiddo was tired. And so it's just been a super fun journey, and I'm so glad that you guys are here. So let's get started, shall we?
Yeah, let's do this. So we just want to tell you guys ahead of time, during the event tonight, we will address your concerns that you've had. We did have, like I said, a lot of people submit, which was super exciting. And a lot of times Sara and I do more of like an organic, let's just talk back and forth and kind of, triage and so to speak to get to the root of the problems. But there were so many people with so much going on that we decided to kind of group this a little bit and do this presentation this way. So our hope, because a lot of you also are joining in at the 515 group, which that group is toddler and pre-K oriented. Our main goal is to kind of group some things together and decide, hopefully if we have time, to take some more personalized questions. In which case, if you do have a question, 2 things, you guys, you can either go like Sara said and raise your hand. At the end, we will tell you the presentation is over, and if we have time for questions, let's take some. So the Zoom chat box, you can raise your hand, or you can send Sara, who's the official host, you can send her a question. The other thing you can do if you feel like you need more one-on-one support is email us or get onto our sleepably.com website and just go ahead and link to the discovery call. It's free. It's 15 minutes. Sara and I talk to you about what exactly is specifically going on and how we can help. So thank you guys ahead of time for submitting all of these super, super awesome questions.
All right. So, what's the big deal about sleep? Why are we even, concerned about sleep? So I tell you what, you guys, sleep, with food and water is one of our body's just most important physiological needs. And we all know this, right? So sleep helps to support a healthy immune system, helps to support our ability to learn, helps our kiddos' growth and development, during sleep. And in fact, really brain activity during sleep has been proven to be like the building block of the brain for infants and for toddlers while they're sleeping. So sleep is what builds your baby's brain. Sleep can also help to heal and repair blood vessels and your cardiovascular system. And then, a lack of sleep on the other side can lead to an increased BMI and a higher likelihood of diabetes. So sleep is just so super important for all of us, for our kiddos, for our babies, and for us as parents. Okay.
All right, friends. Sara, I just want to say really fast, Dr. Nancy's on. She says she can't see us. So I don't know if there's something. I think that on the panelist where it says H, I believe that might be her. Anyway, she says she's listening, but she can't see it. So I'll just let you play with that for a second while I keep going, okay?
Okay, I will see if she is H. I can unmute her.
I don't know why it's coming. Some of us are coming on as NA, but a lot of us are. Maybe we haven't named ourselves. I feel like we've been on Zoom so much with school. So anyway, guys, I'll kind of keep coming back, and Sara, I'll have you click to the next one when I tell you to. So one of the big things about healthy sleep habits, you guys, is the room environment. And often what Sara and I do in some of our Sleepably packages are we do an assessment of your room. When we first have our babies and we have our baby shower and everybody brings us like blankies and stuffies and all of those things, it's so exciting, but truly a child's room, especially in this age of 0 to 18 months, needs to be as basic as possible, and not necessarily their room as much as the area that they're sleeping in. So their crib truly just needs to just be a crib with a tight sheet, and we'll kind of go into that in a little bit. But the room environment, you guys, is so big. So we really stress to parents, the room needs to be dark. And when I say dark, I say if you can see your hand in front of your face, it's too bright. So blackout shades are that's what should be on your registry for a baby shower gift. You want the room to be as dark as possible. Sara and I have a couple of hacks, but one of them is, if you can't go down the blackout shade route, or you can't use even in one of my son's rooms, we've tried using electrical tape to just like black it out. But even black trash bags are a great way to just make the room dark. You want your room as dark as possible. White noise is our friend. It's our friend while we're trying to sleep train. We find that it's very soothing. And another trick about the white noise is that you do not want white noise to be cyclic. In other words, you don't want classical music on that's like going high and low and having lots of different tempos and volume. You want a very like a mundane type just noise, like a vacuum, just constant vacuum, not the ocean and that kind of thing. So that's huge. We live in Colorado, so our temperatures swing often from freezing to super duper hot. I feel like we're having one of those weeks this week. But an ideal temperature for your child's room is 68 to 72. Again, I try to get parents not to stress about getting it exact. A great way to check your child's temperature, if you're worried about them being overheated, is to check like the nape of their neck and see, is it sweaty? Or, feel yourself, are you cold in their bedroom? If you're cold in your bedroom, then then they also might be cold. So to take a look at that. And then Oh, sorry. Here we go. And then, Sarah, can you pop that back up? Sorry.
What?
Oh, this here, the little sleep talk. Sorry, I guess I got booted out because it looks like I got a call. I'm sorry about that. What else does it say on that?
Oh, plates of comfort. So just to make sure that, their sleep space, right, is warm, and the fact that like your baby feels comfortable there, they feel safe there, whether it's like the bassinet next to the bed or the crib in their room, this is a good sleep space. So we want to just create a lot of like love and warmth around that environment. And then are you back into that?
Oh, not yet. Sorry.
It's okay, I can go back.
Well, it's going on to room environment. Yeah, I can see, but can you guys still see me? So small.
Yes.
That call really ruined it. Okay, so thank you for going over that. Place of comfort. And then we talk often about the, like I said, with getting all of the loveys and the blankies and the stuffies, but those are age appropriate. And during this age, 0 to 18 months, it is not appropriate to have those in the actual crib. So, so with that, Sarah, go ahead and click on to the next slide. All right, you guys. So Sarah's going to talk to you a lot about the newborns, but we wanted to just kind of give you a little bit of information. So a lot of you asked, hey, what sleep schedule should we have? When should my child be napping? Those types of questions. So what I want to tell you about, and one really important piece to understand, and we talk a lot about this in our one-on-ones, but it's something we called wake times. So this is the amount of time your child, given their age, should be awake. And I know Sarah will talk about this in some of these upcoming slides, but a child who is a newborn, they don't like wake times. They love to catnap, they love to get cozy, and they love to just kind of fall off to sleep as much as they can and whenever they can. But wake times is a period of time where we as parents or caregivers need to try to do our best to keep the child awake, not necessarily in the newborn stage, but as we start to go and down the road of 4 to 6 months, 7 to 9 months. How long should your child be awake before they're getting lied down to bed? So that is the awake time, and you're going to hear us reference that term a lot. So we just wanted to make sure you know what an awake time is. And then Sarah, do you want to chat about SIDS prevention?
Sure. So all kiddos, really between like 0 to 19 months should be placed in an empty crib with tight fitted sheet on a firm mattress. And this can be super hard as parents of newborns, because you want all like the soft and cozy and fluffy sheets and blankets and stuffies and loveys and bumpers. Like you want your baby to just like enjoy that luxury, but we want to be clear, we want just a flat mattress, no bumpers, no like thick cozy blankets on top of them while they sleep. Okay, so no pillows, no blankets, no stuffies. Sleep sacks are amazing. My younger two used sleep sacks, and then my older two, they weren't invented yet. So sleep sacks are awesome just to make sure that your kiddo is staying warm. They have different like textures or temperatures for like summer and winter, and kind of just depending too like on where you're at. And then super important, always lay your baby on their back when they're going to go to sleep. Okay, here in a bit, we'll see Rebecca demonstrate a fun little video where she is able to soothe a baby to kind of help him during a fussy period. So that is different than when you are laying your baby down to bed. We want to make sure that they're on their back, even if they may prefer to go on their side or on their tummy. I know I'm a tummy sleeper, but always back to sleep. And you'll kind of hear us refer to that a lot, okay? And then pacifiers and breastfeeding are encouraged because for several reasons, but they have been shown, both nursing and using binkies or pacifiers, to decrease the risk of SIDS, okay? All right, so newborn sleep, so that's me. So the newborn stage, we are going to consider this anytime between 0, so like birth, and then up through 12 weeks, okay? So that first like 0 to 8 weeks, these babies are just plain old confused, right? They are used to being in your tummy, and you know, for them, like I'm sure y'all noticed when they were in utero, once you started to lay down for bed, all of a sudden that's when the activity started. So that is the same once they're born. So we have a lot of day and night confusion, and that's very normal. So how do we help to like transition them from this newborn night day confusion into like, you know, a regular sleep schedule? One thing that is super important is just to make sure that you set up some sort of routine. You know, in that 4th trimester, right, where we've got postpartum mamas and everyone is just doing the best that they can just to get through the day, right? We totally recognize that. And so that's, I think, one of the coolest things about Rebecca and I is we really meet parents where they're at in this sleep journey. But so just, you want to set up some sort of routine. Allow a lot of natural light to come in during the day. Once the babies are right around 8 weeks, that's when our bodies are so cool. Our bodies begin to naturally produce the hormone called melatonin, and that helps to promote and encourage sleep, right? And so that just starts right around 8 weeks. So at that time, we start to kind of see a shift and a more structured and kind of like routine sleep pattern happen. But you guys, I just want to be honest, know until that 8-week time, it's possible you're going to see your baby kind of still waking, you know, every 2 to 3 hours for a feed. And, you know, at 2 a.m., they may be like bright-eyed and ready just to coo and talk and connect with you. And that's okay. That's just what these newborn babies do. And really just kind of relish in that time if you can. Like Rebecca was saying, darkness is our friend, right? Darkness is the signal to this little one, wait, it's not time for like activity or nursing or playing. It is time for sleeping, okay? One kind of method for soothing a fussy baby is called the 5 S's. Now, Rebecca made this video, what, back in January, maybe sometime this spring. And it's a really great demonstration of how to soothe these kind of fussy, you know, wiggly, wakeful babies, okay? Well, shapoopy. Let's see here. We're reloading. Okay. Un momento. We'll just do it this way.
The 5 S's was created by Dr. Harvey Karp. He's a pediatrician out of California. Most famous for the 5 S's, he also created Happiest Baby on the Block. The 5 S's, bless you, basically demonstrate or mimic rather the environment of mom's womb. So this is especially important for this newborn phase. So what we're going to do, I'm going to demonstrate the 5 S's. The first S is swaddle, and for this swaddle, I am going to go ahead and use the Ollie swaddle. So I'm getting baby Jack nice and cozy in his swaddle here. And it's perfect because he is a tiny bit fussy. And so we'll see if this can kind of help calm him. So like I said, guys, the first S is swaddle. The second one is to side lie him. So just like this, you always want to obviously put your baby on the back, but for just calming purposes, side lying is great. So he's swaddle, he's side lying. And then the next one will be making the shh sound. So you can also do a swing motion like this. Shh. Putting all of these together. Shh. The last S is suck. Jack sometimes likes a pacifier, so we'll try. But we're going to do all together. So shh. You'll see that his eyes are starting to come like heavy-like. And this is the demonstration of 5 S's. Shh.
All right, love that. So the 5 S's is a great technique just to kind of soothe a fussy baby, okay? Schedule, just kind of like we just talked about, super helpful for these newborns, just so that they know kind of what to expect. During the night times, 2 a.m., if you do go for a nurse, just make sure you're kind of businesslike, and during the day, you're very happy and energetic, okay? Here is, so if you have, I was gonna say if you have your cell phone with you, but I guess we're all at home, and of course we have our phones. Here is a handy dandy wake and sleep chart for the newborn ages. And again, there's no baby is ever the same, right? No baby is, you know, there's a secret recipe for sleep success, but here is a handy guideline to kind of help with sleep, especially during this first age. So I do want to say a quick kind of shout out, real quick, just to Lauren and Kelsey and Adrian and Katie, Catherine and Megan. Those were all the mamas who did submit newborn questions. And so I do hope that we addressed all of your questions. And if we didn't, just reach out to us, and then we can set up a time where we can chat on the phone and kind of help you guys a little bit more. Okay. All right. 4 to 6 month sleeps. I tell you what, these 4 to 6 monthers, they're the tricky ones. Just because that melatonin is kicking in and they're getting a little bit more vocal and their personalities are coming out. And so they can be kind of tricky. We also see like the 4-month regression a lot. And so this is a pretty popular age group. Speaking of popularity for this age group, I do want to mention all the mamas who we had write in about 4 to 6 monthers. So we've got Leanne and Kate, Susanna, Megan, Liz, Joanna. I know we all have these struggles with these 4-monthers. Brooke, Lauren, Whitney, Jordan, Hannah, Lily, and Lindsay. So thank you guys all so much for submitting your questions. So I tell you what, 4 to 6 months, watch for their sleep cues, right? If your baby gets overtired, then it's just hot mess express for everyone. So once you start to see these sleep cues, that's your signal. Let's get this baby to sleep, either for nap or nighttime. Okay. So if they're arching their back, if you're seeing like an increase in fussiness, if they're rubbing their eyes, pulling in their ears, gazing off. My youngest has a blanket, and even from like 6 months on, she started like rubbing the blanket under her nose. That's her sleep cue, even today when she's 5. So when you see those cues, off you go, either till their bassinet, their pack and play, crib, whatever their safe sleep space is, okay? So speaking of 4-month regression, I wish that there was a better term for regression, you guys, because this is a good thing. this is your baby all of a sudden developing these new skills. They're talking more, they are rolling either one way or the other way or always, and they are just so eager to keep practicing these new skills and to show you these new skills, right? And so that's why we see the sleep regression. So kind of one secret sauce kind of trick is to let them practice these skills and really encourage them to practice these during daytime. So whether it's like learning to sit up or roll or like grab for things, really engage kind of during that time, okay? And again, routine. Consistency is key, just so that your baby always knows what to expect, okay? Any questions? Oh, you know what? Actually, we're going to save questions until the end. Sorry about that. So here is your handy dandy 4 to 6 month wake and kind of sleep chart. Again, this is a rough guideline, but if this is any of those mamas that we mentioned before, and you guys are struggling, here's a good guideline. Okay. All right. 7 to 9 months. I am right now working with a 9-monther, and I don't think that they are on here, but if they are, hey guys. Anyway, 9 months are hard because they are tough little boogers. So anyway, we'll see quite often a 9-month regression, and they have so many skills that they are practicing. And so know that that's kind of pretty common. One kind of pitfall that parents will fall into from time to time is what's called sleep props. So that's either like nursing your baby to sleep, rocking them to sleep, even like falling asleep, snuggling with mom and dad, or needing that pacifier to fall asleep. What happens is that these babies become super dependent on these props. And so if something is missing, either like the motion from the car or from the rocking chair, from the stroller, then the baby doesn't fall asleep if they don't have that specific prop, okay? And so learning to teach your baby to fall asleep independently is huge. It is like a game changer, life-saving skill. And it's super hard also in the fact that, and I'm guilty of this too, so like, you know, no judgment here, but it's so nice and snuggly when your baby falls asleep on you, right? And then you lay them down in bed and then they wake up because they're nice and warm and snuggly, mama isn't there. And then that just creates a vicious cycle. So you guys, the secret to healthy sleep is to put your baby in bed awake. Okay. It's so hard, and I've been there, and it's like, oh, it's just so nice to have them snuggle with you. But Rebecca and I have some like awesome tips on how to help you do that. Okay. Right now, we are just kind of ending the winter sick season. However, we've also encountered COVID, right? And so we do want to address how super important it is to really partner with your pediatrician. If you see any symptoms of illness, runny nose, cough, vomiting, diarrhea, rash, any symptoms of illness at all, we want to stop the sleep training. Okay. We do want you to reach out to your pediatrician, whether they are the, fabulous pediatricians there at Partners in Pediatrics, or, whomever your pediatrician is, and just make sure that your pediatrician doesn't, want you to take any other kind of home care measures or even come in for an appointment or telehealth or whatever is happening now. Okay. So once those symptoms of illness have been recovered from, it's okay to return to sleep training. But again, I just want y'all to be super kind of cautious with any kind of symptoms of illness. Okay. For you 7 to 9 month mamas and dads, I'm gonna just give a quick shout out to you all. So we've got Kimberly and Jenny, Lindsay, Haley, Roy, Rianne or Ryan, and Danielle. You guys, thank you so much for coming tonight. All right, my friend.
All right. We're jumping into the older babies / beginning, or as some of us call them, tabbies, toddler babies. So I'm going to talk to you about 10 to 12 month old, and then we're going to go into 13 to 18. So it seemed that we didn't have a ton of 10 to 12 monthers. We've got Jen, Amanda, Julie, Mandy, and Michael, who all called in or sent in messages about struggles with their 10 to 12 months. So kind of just piggybacking on what Sara said, honestly, the whole thing about getting your child to sleep is staying consistent. And rather that is, rather they're 4 months or 4 years old, truly the consistency is the sweet sauce, so to speak. So 10 to 12 months, here is a time where we're often transitioning naps. We got a lot of questions about naps. What do we do with naps right now? Most kiddos at this juncture of 10 to 12 months should be on like a 2 nap a day schedule. And on our next slide, we'll see that. But for now, the 10 to 12 months, a couple of different things. If these kids are going to bed after 8 p.m., it can actually stop physiologically the cortisol can actually start to gain a little bit of momentum after that time. You really want to get these kids into bed in this sort of like dawn before 8 p.m., so to speak, so that the melatonin that's starting to kick in with normal like circadian rhythm is activated around like this 5:30, 6:30, 7:30 time. So for these kiddos, bedtime and bedtime routine is really, really important. Also, you just need to be aware that daytime sleep, super important, but we don't want it to steal from nighttime sleep, because nighttime sleep is when we're getting lots of rest and repair neurologically with our muscles, immune systems. So be cognizant of what's happening during these nap transitions. Couple different things that you'll see when you can tell that your child's ready to go from, in this age group, if they're going from 3 to 2, they're still a little too young to go to 1 naps. They should be at 2, but if their naps are just getting shorter in general, so they're like lasting only 20 to 25 minutes, they're staying awake longer between naps, or they seem to be difficult to get down, or they're actually just flat out refusing a nap, those are all signs that maybe it's time to transition. So these kiddos, again, like I said, they're definitely at a 2 naps, sometimes even transitioning already to 1, but usually we see that kind of happen after the 1-year-old mark. So so a couple things that, we would want you to do is increase their awake time gradually. And when we say gradually, we mean even in increments of like 15 minutes. So just, go kind of slow and steady with them, but then stay consistent in their routine of getting them to sleep and what that looks like. So reading a book, putting on their little sleep sack, singing songs, dimming the lights, that needs to be consistent no matter who's the caretaker, be it mom or dad or a nanny or a sitter. The consistency with this age group is really important. It's very important with all age groups, but these are little people, and they're starting to kind of figure things out, and they're starting to know what's coming next. So it's really important that we start that right now. And then Sara, I'll have you go to the 10 to 12 month slide. Yep, the wake time. So again, guys, we will be sending you the link to this recording so that you can have these. But if this is your kiddo right now, you can take a picture of this just so you can see. These are the normal wake times, nap times, maximum day sleep, and total number of naps and nighttime sleep for this age group. So consistency, these kids know what is coming next. So you want to set up a really solid bedtime here and ritual. And then, so again, thank you to the parents who called out with that age group. And then our 13 to 18 month olds, these are fun. These guys are busy. This group can be really tough. They're tough in general. I find it one of the most personally mama challenging times because they're without their language skills. they are finding their independence, and there's a lot of yelling going on. There's a lot of pushback and a lot of like just kind of fierce energy where they're really trying to figure out where like that they have a say in what's going on, and they don't have the words yet. So this can be a challenging group. During this time as well, we're transitioning to one nap, you guys, which the transition from 2 to 1 nap is great because I feel like it kind of, as a mom, allows you to have a morning, and it allows you to have an afternoon, or a dad or a caretaker. Transitioning to 1 nap is so great, I feel like, for the family, but that week or two of transition is really hard to get right to the sweet spot, because you are slowly incrementing, like by 15 minutes, to get them to this spot. And sometimes they're just so tired by 5:30, and you've got to keep them awake, or you're trying to push them to 11:30 in the morning to get them to have this total awake time of at least 5 hours. So this group loves early morning wakings, and they love to wake up in the middle of the night, and they love to have tantrums. So it's hard, and it's hard emotionally, I feel like, on families. Again, because there's a lot of crying and whine, and not so much the whining and being able to explain what's going on, as much as just the distress that they're kind of showing you through tantrums. So you guys, early morning wakings are often a sign that your child is overtired, or that the daytime sleep is stealing from the nighttime sleep. So those are two big things to really keep in mind, and start to just kind of, especially if you're in this age group and we're trying to transition to 1 nap, do a little log, put a little journal together where you can write, this is what time, little Nora woke up at, and this is how long, these are her cues. Again, you guys, cues are huge. I know when I was going through my sleep training with my youngest, learning his cues, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, he's done this so much and I just didn't pick up on it. And they can be subtle, but they're, but once it clicks in and you really see it happen in front of you, it's very, it's like, oh gosh, of course they're tired, they're ready for bed, so we need to get there. So watch this group cries, they're irritable, they're throwing tantrums, they're going stiff on you, like they're, you can tell, and it's coming up to their time for sleep. So like I said, kind of watching their cues and determining like where to go from 2 to 1. And it's very individual. A lot of kids are ready by 12 months to go to 1 nap. Some kids, I find sort of the sweet spot is like 14 to 15 months, that they're actually physically ready to transition over to 1 nap. But naps take time. Sara and I say that all the time, even in our individual consults. Naps come after sleep comes at night, if that makes sense. So the nap portion of a child's sleep fall into place after the nighttime sleep falls into place. So again, huge about their environment. This is kind of when you can start to introduce a lovey or a stuffy or some sort of comfort item, because it does make them, they start to have that fear, that separation anxiety. So safely determining what would be a stuffy or a lovey that is safe to have in the crib with them. That's often something that can be introduced. And then super dark room. And I don't know if we touched on it, but during this age, and we're going to talk about it a lot in the next area, but a lot of people talk about night lights and should we have a light in there, and they're scared. And truly, night lights, you guys, kids this age, just they really shouldn't, there's no reason for them to be so scared of the dark. They're a little too young for that. So if it's more of a light for you because you're getting in there, make sure the light is not a blue light, not a white light, that it's like an amber or a red light, because those tones do not increase someone's like awake cycle and create cortisol, so that they want to get up and think it's time to party. You want to do a very dim, like red or amber light, if even a night light in this group. So so that is that sort of stage. And then Sarah, if you can just kind of go over to the slide. Yeah. So guys, this is, again, if you're in this age group, take a quick picture of this. This is the chart with the ages and the ranges of awake time and sleep time. And then I'm gonna have you switch over to the Always Ask Pediatricians. Are you there?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. All right. So you guys, with sleeping and implementing good sleep and sleep habits, we obviously, our pediatricians are a wealth of knowledge on so many things. And as nurses ourselves, and as triage nurses and as sleep coaches, we refer back to the pediatrician a lot, and we want this to be a cohesive and a team thing. We want the pediatrician's blessing, especially for kiddos before 6 months, that that they're good and they're ready to sleep train. So always talk to your pediatrician if your child's facing any symptoms of being ill. We stop all sleep training if a child's ill, and that means they have a fever, they have a rash, diarrhea, vomiting, cold symptoms, anything like that. It's just not a good time to start this process. I will say that if your child has sleep trained and then gets sick, we do our best to do what we need to do while they're sick to take care of them and make sure they're nurtured and they're, they're safe. And then we go right back into getting them back to sleep, because we don't want this. A lot of times we see parents say, well, our kid got sick, and then now here we are, we're in this new kind of hurdle. But again, so talk to our pediatrician with any signs of illness, changing in your child's feeds. Those are not questions for us, for Sarah or I. You need to talk to the pediatrician about feeds and when to go to sleeping through the night if you're breastfeeding, or one feed, or solids, or all of that stuff is pediatrician based. And then if you're concerned that your child's crying or feels like they're in pain, we are not going to triage you for that. We need you to talk to your pediatrician about that. So those are very important, and we highly suggest, and we will suggest and refer back to pediatricians for that. So Sarah, do you want to just quick talk about what is sleep training?
Yes, and actually I'm going to go back one slide real fast for Kathleen. Oh, yeah. And then Kathleen, any questions that you have on this slide? Okay, great. So I'm going to move forward. Oh, great. Okay, thanks. Okay. All right. So what in the world is sleep training? A part of our registration questionnaire, we asked, have any of you guys already sleep trained? And really, sleep training is just teaching your kiddo how to self-soothe and to put themselves to sleep without needing you, right? Or needing something else, like a car or anything else, okay? And so what Rebecca and I do is we teach you how to teach your kiddo how to sleep. We also help to educate on maybe why your kiddo isn't sleeping, and techniques and methods that we can all implement to help your kiddo to sleep, okay? We talked about this briefly, and I'm gonna just real quick kind of touch base. There are a lot of methods out there. One of a more kind of famous method is called Cry It Out, or the extinction method. And Rebecca and I both know firsthand many methods that are much more gentle and just as successful, if not maybe more successful, to help your kiddo get back to sleep or just start sleeping in general, other than the Cry It Out method. So I just wanted to quickly touch base on that. Okay. And then, okay, so how does this sleep coaching stuff work, right? So it's the coolest partnership, I tell you what. So Rebecca and I meet with parents one-on-one. Back in the day before COVID, we could either come to your home or meet for coffee. But now we do it all via FaceTime or Skype or whatever apps are out there. Anyway, so we meet with parents one-on-one to figure out what is the concern, what's the problem, what's going on, and what are your goals? What would you like to see? We also help to set realistic expectations. Is it realistic for an 8-week baby to sleep from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.? Probably not, because we know that that baby's going to need to feed, right? And so we meet these parents where they're at with what they want to see. Okay. So then we create a personalized sleep plan for your baby. It's based on their personality, where they are at, obviously, like age-wise, developmentally wise, and where you're at. Like what do you want to see, right? And then we either coach and provide support for 1 week or 2 weeks, kind of depending on the issue and the kiddo and the family and what's going on. And then guess what? People are sleeping. It's amazing. And it's the coolest and most rewarding gig that I've had. And I've been a nurse for a long time, and I love being a nurse, but I really love being a sleep coach. So that's kind of how sleep training works. And then here's kind of the coolest thing. COVID, I'm home. Are you guys, like, I know that you guys are home. Rebecca's home. And so this kind of time in our lives is actually a good time for us to start to sleep training, just because schedules are much more predictable. I know that we don't have soccer and football and dance, and like our weekends are much more mundane, but it's good because we sit on our front porch now and we watch the kids like play in the front yard, and it's a slower pace of life. It's like we moved to a small town that I've been wanting to move to for a long time. Anywho, Rebecca, I'm going to let you finish the slide because I kind of took over.
No, and honestly, you were just right there. So, I mean, we all try to find silver linings in this just super unpredictable, scary time. So this is a good time to start sleep training because a lot of families have 2 caregivers home, which we find if you have a partner in this, it's super, super helpful. So we see that a lot of parents are both home so they can support each other. And also, you guys, there's a ton of people who had questions just about how things have shifted in their house, and children even this age. We're seeing it a lot in the next group, but in this age, they sense the anxiety that we have and the uncertainty that we have, and it can disrupt their sleep. And so it's just a really important time to sort of slow down and connect. And if you can be present and give this gift of sleep and self-soothing to your child right now. Unfortunately, I think we're in this COVID situation for a long time, and there's so many changes ahead of us. So giving them the power to learn to self-soothe now just pays off so much in the future. So with that also, Sarah, I'll just have you go to the next slide. It looks like we have a few minutes for some questions, but we just want to sincerely thank all of you for joining us. All of you who submitted and registered. We want to thank Partners in Pediatrics for co-hosting us. We hope that you guys can see us. I know some of you said that you can't, but we hope you can, and we hope you've at least listened. And we want you to know that we would love to help you if you're a family that feels like we would be a good fit to help you to get your children to sleep. All of the attendees from both of these meetings are getting 20% off any sort of sleep package that we offer. So go in and get into the Sleepably website and set up a discovery call with Sara or I. Just let us know that you were here as one of the attendees, and we'll give you 20% off. Also, again, thanks to Ben for helping us set all of this up. The marketing, you're awesome, and we are super grateful. And we have just a few minutes, which is amazing, left to answer some questions specifically if we can. So Sara, do you have, and then you guys, again, I think if you can just go to the bottom where it says raise hand or a chat box, that should work. And we've got a few minutes to do that.
Or if you have a Mac and you're on your computer, you can do Option Y.
Oh.
I know. All right. I'm sorry that I'm going to call you NA. But go ahead, NA.
I have a 7-month-old, and he is waking up like every 3 hours to eat. He's breastfeeding, and I was just curious, like, how long stretches should be for a 7-month-old that's breastfeeding at that time?
Great question. So my first advice to you is to check in with your pediatrician and see if your pediatrician is comfortable with you all either dropping like 1-night feed or 2-night feeds, or what their preference is. So there's kind of that component, okay? Once you get like the thumbs up, then it's just about kind of teaching this little guy that he doesn't need to eat like, you know, at 2 a.m. And to kind of like reinforce. So I'll just do this quick kind of analogy because I know we've got a couple other people. So, you know, if you go out to dinner, right, and you are hungry and you have an appetizer, then that little appetizer kind of just fills you. You're not too hungry for dinner now. Kind of same thing with these night feedings. If he is hungry, it's been 5 to 6 hours, great, he should be hungry, right? So you want to feed him and remind him at 2 a.m. that this is business only and let's just nurse and, you know, kind of wake him up. Make sure when he's finished nursing that he is awake. Do some sort of activity like changing his diaper or something so that he does not associate that feed with going to sleep, okay? And then you're gonna lay him down in his crib, awake to fall asleep on his own. I know that was like super quick and dirty, but yeah, my best advice first is just to check with your pediatrician and see if they're comfortable.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, we're gonna go also to another NA. Sorry. All right, go ahead. So look on your either phone or your computer. You might have like a little microphone thing, and it might have like a red line through
flash through it, yeah.
Because we can't hear you. Okay, so while we're kind of working on that one, someone wrote in on the chat box, are the same rules at play for naps as nighttime sleep like darkness? Great question.
That's such a good question. Yes,
yes,
yes. That's why we say blackout shades and black trash bags and whatever you can get, because like my 1.5-year-old son's faces the west side. So I feel like at night we're constantly we're like pinning things up to try to make it as dark as possible. So yes, daytime and nighttime, you still want your room just as dark. You don't want any light in the room at all while you're going to sleep. It should just be black. Should not be able to see your hand in front of your face, no matter what time they're laying down to sleep. Great question.
One thing that's I found helpful is, and this is in no way an endorsement or a plug, but the Hatch nightlight, you can, or any of the nightlight / like white noise machines that you can control with your phone. You can like increase the lightness when you go in so that you can see kind of what's going on. But then like when you leave the room, then you, via your phone, you can turn back down the brightness. And then like on several other brands, including Hatch, you can do like yellow light, red light, amber light, blue light, green light, and so on, okay? All right. I think we have time for one more question. And again, real quick, I just want to say thank you again to both Dr. Nancy and Jimmy and Partners in Pediatrics for collaborating with Team Sleepably. And this has been a super amazing event. So thank you guys. All right, so what age does I should put my glasses on. What age does the baby need to be in their own room? Great question.
Yes.
So the American Academy of Pediatrics, otherwise known as the AAP, now they advise that the parents and the babies room share. This is not bed share, but room share up until 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the recommendation. Okay, so one more, I think. Wait, what time is it?
Yeah.
One more. I always thought at 11 months should sleep through. Mine is waking up between 10 and 12. Did I read he could really be hungry? So if it's been 5 to 6 hours since they last fed or since they last ate, they could be hungry. But again, we really want you to partner with your pediatrician on kind of like overnight feeds and things like that.
Yeah. Well, I will say, just as a generalized statement, that most pediatricians, if your child is, quote, healthy and growing normally on the growth curve, most pediatricians do say at 6 months they should be able to sleep through the night. Now, again, it's super important that you talk to your pediatrician about what they want you to do, but just as a generalized blanket statement, most pediatricians, if everything is going well, say at 6 months, your child really doesn't need to eat through the night. But again, I just want to make sure you check with your pediatrician. But yeah.
All right, you guys. And then if you have any additional questions, or if you want to chat with Rebecca and I one-on-one, we would be honored to do so. And so you can just do that by visiting sleepably.com and then kind of follow the prompts from there. Okay.